Welcome to another episode of Around the Mic. My name is Rick. Today I have Beth and a new guest, Patrick.
Hi.
We're going to talk about a few topics today. The big topic today we want to discuss is Gamestop and no more digital bundles for consoles. Seemed like a bold move on the CEO's part to say, we just don't want the digital versions of these bundles.
Well, what he came out and said was basically physical copies are going to be around forever. You're not going to see the same thing happen to video games that you have happen to, DVDs or music. It's not going to go away and all be completely digitized. So, I don't know. That's a pretty bold statement to be making with the way that technology is today. I don't know. I mean, to come out and just say that, I think is a little...
In a time where consoles are just now finally starting to get into digital distribution, to say something that's in the other direction, I understand why he said it. He's got a company that
Right.
specializes in selling physical media. Right. I understand that. But that's going against the direction that the industry is heading.
Well, I will say, when I bought my PS4 bundle, it came with The Last of Us and it came with GTA 5. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember seeing anywhere on the box where it said that they weren't going to be physical, but I quickly found out that The Last of Us was an actual code. So then I did spend the major portion of the day downloading 50 gigs.
So yeah, there is that part, the whole downloading part, and then you see this trend now of ISPs starting to cap how much you can download a month, and that could become a problem depending on how quickly the console market picks up on digital distribution. So I'm a record collector. I buy vinyl, so I can understand the desire to have a physical copy of whatever it is that you love. And I'm not talking down on that at all. But as far as games are born, they're digital, so it just seems to me a natural direction to head in digital distribution for gaming.
I think the only if the hard copies are going to be around forever, the only way you're going to get that is if they keep putting out the collector's editions for people like you like to collect vinyl. There are people out there who love to collect these, these special editions, or to have the little statues. Or I myself, I have a chainsaw gun and a Marcus Phoenix statue. I have bought those bundles for the collector's items. So I think if maybe that's what he was referring to, then maybe those will be around forever. But I could buy the statue with a code.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Give me the code that I don't have to tear out of the actual box or whatever.
Right.
So that I could, put it into whatever platform, Xbox, PS4, or even PC. So I can, still be able to play the game, but leave my collector's goodies untouched.
I see two issues here. You were talking about the amount of capping that you have. I know it's been in the news that Suddenlink, I think, is capping to 250 gig now. A lot of people, and that's, if you're lucky, 5 games on like Xbox One
in a month. Yeah.
Maybe if at the stores, if you could go in and go ahead and buy the digital version, I don't care, like even on a USB stick, something that for the people who don't have the downloading capabilities could go in and do that. But then on top of that, my other idea is the digital costs them nothing. Right. They've got to actually put the game onto a disc. I know that's cheap. They got to put it in a box, but then they got to get it shipped to the actual store. Right. Let's go ahead and make maybe the normal version be $60. Maybe you can make the digital version be like $50, or maybe like an early access to go ahead and get in and say, hey, we're going to be working out bugs, but you can get early access. Let's differentiate the two products slightly. And that might actually help people, because when I buy the game, I don't plan on getting rid of it, but if it does stink, I would like to trade it in, even for the pennies that GameStop's going to give me.
True.
And you don't get that option with the digital. So make me have a little bit more value or an investment in my digital copy than I would have in my digital, because I can't get rid of my digital.
Gotcha. All right. I can understand that.
Going back to the whole capping of the downloading and all that with your bandwidth, it's going to be hard to stay under that cap if it's 250 gigs when Microsoft has I got a message yesterday on Xbox Live that they're going to be going for 2 games for free every month.
Oh, good grief.
And,
okay.
and usually there's 2 at a time up. So I could get 3, maybe 4 sometimes for free a month just that way. And granted, most of them aren't 50 gigs a pop, but some of them are. Tomb Raider, which was just free, was, a big chunk of
Right.
my space. But, to have those, and then any games that come out that you want to purchase, even if you get the disc, you have to install it.
Right.
So you're still going to take up that well, I wouldn't mess with your downloading, but it's still going to take up your space.
And there would be another pro to having the physical copy. You wouldn't have to use up your bandwidth cap.
Yeah.
For that month or whatever.
Well, and I have a question to throw out, because I don't do much digital myself, but do you have an aspect either on Xbox One or PS4 that allows you to back up that digital game you downloaded? Because I hate to mention the elephant that's in the room, but look what happened to PT. I never got on the PT bandwagon. I didn't have the chance. I didn't have a PS4, but a friend of mine did, and I told him, I was like, "Would you please download that?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll get it back for you at some point." They don't even have PT up there at all.
Right.
It wasn't like you had to get it by September 1st or whatever it is. They pulled it, and digitally that is gone forever unless it's on your hard drive. So that kind of raises a slippery slope, paradigm.
Yeah, but I think that's a unique situation because that project it fell through. The bottom fell out of it. So I guess they felt that they needed to take it, take the preview of a game that was not going to ever happen off. So I just don't see that happening, especially with AAA title games.
But I mean, I still have like the official Dreamcast magazine, discs that I could put into my Dreamcast for games that never came to fruition, and I could still play those. I'd really like to play PT, but now I have to find someone who has a hard drive that hasn't crashed,
right,
and then play it, or else I'm never going to get to experience that. So that's, I mean, that may be putting on a tinfoil hat, but still,
right?
Yeah, but
that's problematic.
That's the playable trailer, right?
Yeah,
sure.
So. But still, that's just like a demo or a beta or anything. Like, I don't see the big deal of not being able to go back and play that. I mean, it doesn't seem like that's something that you would have purchased or gotten physically anyway. I mean, back in the day.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now, every beta that you get is either digital or you get some kind of pre-order thing. Like, it's not... oh, we're going to ship you this disc for the Battlefield 4
right.
beta.
It just seems to be a weird precedence when they say, we're going to completely get rid of your ability to still get it, even though it's in your catalog. Because not only did they say you couldn't get it anymore, you couldn't sign up to be a person that could have access to it, you can't download it anymore. They took it off the server, so that digital content...
I can understand that, though, because it's not like anybody paid for that content. If you pay for a game, Microsoft, you can... on an Xbox One, you can delete anything that you have previously downloaded and always re-download it. Even the free games count as purchased games, so I'll always be able to go back and re-download those. So I don't know. I guess I see that as a different type of format. Like, I don't see that as a game and I'm losing access to my game. That was something that was only a limited time,
right.
and I was there to help the company.
Right.
I got a little taste. But, I mean, I understand what you're saying, though, too,
right.
because if they can do that for something like the physical trailer, why couldn't they go ahead and do that for games that they
it's
don't
a very
want to support
slippery
anymore?
slope.
Right. It may not be as important to me as it was to you to play that, but that does open the door.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't want to be worried about.
Right, yeah. Pros and cons for both sides for having physical as opposed to having digital.
Yeah.
I'm just a digital person. In the beginning, when Half-Life 2 first came out, and I was forced to install Steam, I was like, I want my physical copies. I need to have that tangible copy in my hand. But somewhere along the way, and I couldn't tell you exactly when it happened, I just started preferring the digital copy. Maybe it was because I was living in a one bedroom apartment and space was not abundant, so not having to worry about where to store all my games. Not having to worry about that, I had all that extra space to do with whatever I want. I have over 300 games, so it would be a chore for me to find a place for those. But I've got them all digitally.
And to keep them. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it from GameStop's point of view too, if they get rid of the hard copies, though, I mean, their midnight releases, I'm sure, brought in a lot of revenue as well, and they would have to, would you still be able to draw a crowd at midnight to your store to pick up a digital code?
We're still
Or
at this
would
point,
they just go ahead and give them to you?
we're still just talking about the bundle so far, but
Well,
we're
right.
saying they're saying this may snowball into
Potential, yeah.
to digitals altogether.
But once that door is open, like we were talking earlier, I mean, it could be anything. I just think that GameStop needs to stop worrying about the software. Excuse me, the software and like the video aspect of it, or the game aspect of it, and just stick with the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are still going to need hardware. We're still going to need peripherals. You got virtual reality stuff coming out. Get on that boat, which I'm sure that they will. But that's going to be, I think, where their market is, and they just bought Think Geek, so they're getting into the merchandise, and so I think if they were to focus on that and maybe build an online community around something like that, it would be a better direction to go than to just basically kind of piss off half the market and say,
That's what I don't
this is never gonna go
understand.
away.
Because they have a digital front end.
Right.
I can't remember the name of it. They actually bought it from a different company that made Sins of a Solar Empire. That studio had made their, it was basically a Steam competitor. And GameStop bought it out. So
Right.
it's not like they don't have a presence for that. But that's more for the PC customers and not the console customers.
Right. You don't want to leave out consoles because that's a pretty big
But
market.
he says that seems to be where the customer preference is, to have digital
Right.
Well,
tangible copies. I want to see those numbers. Where does he
I
get
don't.
that?
I don't think so. To play devil's advocate and to actually talk about what I think GameStop is doing, GameStop makes an amazing amount of money off the used game market.
That's true. That is
And
what they
they're
have.
pushing
And they
this.
have said
and
that.
none of that
Yeah.
money is ever seen by developers. And you had developers starting to do with like Arkham City. They started putting a code inside with the game that gave you the playable Catwoman, different missions. That was a way the developer tried to make sure that you buying new, you got better content or more content. And so it does seem like GameStop is really trying to give pushback to trying to say they want physical copies so that people can come in and sell those used games back to them so they can make insane amounts of money. So I think this is a smaller dig at the idea that there's a gigantic used game market. And that needs to be addressed eventually because the
Yeah.
developers are getting nothing from GameStop.
Right.
And
Right.
I think for several years there has been pushback and and talk about that.
Well, I mean, that brings in the DRM when they wouldn't let you use or install a game if it's already, you have to have codes to
Right.
with the PCs, and I think there were even a couple of games maybe that you had to, like I think Ubisoft with Play Online, or it's not Play Online, that's Square.
Uplay.
Uplay,
That's
yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
So
Which
that's
is useless,
and that's probably one of the
unnecessary.
reasons that came into play was because of the used game issue.
Well, the biggest fiasco was the new SimCity when it came out.
Oh.
When EA launched that, it wasn't about like a month that nobody could get online.
Right, I
Right.
remember that.
Yeah.
They were not
So-
prepared for that launch.
No.
Just, one of many failed
Right,
launches.
right. So I don't know. To try to keep the used game market alive. I mean, you don't give that much money for the game, and then you charge a ridiculous amount when you're reselling it, and then nobody's getting that profit but you. You give nothing back to anybody that has actually worked on the game, and you give nothing to the customer who is coming to your store to give you this product that you're going to completely make a profit on. If you want to go and keep your used games market up, then you better start increasing your prices for the value of those used games a little bit more, I think, because there's other places
Right.
that they can go to do that. Amazon will let you trade in used games. So, I mean, they have their competition there to be trying to bank on that, but I can see where that would be where they're coming from.
I'm pretty that seems very plausible to me.
Yeah.
Especially since he did specifically
He
say
did specifically talk about
the
used
resale
games.
program. I agree. Well, I guess we'll see how this pans out in the months to come, years to come. See if maybe they backtrack.
Yeah.
We'll
They're
s-
trying not to be Blockbuster, but it's not looking good for them. I'm just saying.
We'll see.